If you're watching this video, you probably have the same bad habit as me. You get really annoyed with one of your bad habits, and so you make this big deal about trying to fix it. You get super inspired and make a plan to change your life and break the habit, and everything is going great for a few days. And then a few days later, you get tired or you mess up and you fall back into that old habit. Everything comes crashing down and you say, screw it, this habit is too hard to break. If you're here, then your worst habit is that you cannot seem to break any of your bad habits. But that's a habit we can break. Before we can break habits, we have to know how they form. That way you can recognize all of the parts of the habit and figure out how to break each part individually. So habits form through something called a habit loop. The loop starts with a trigger. Triggers can be lots of things, like emotions, environmental cues, and specific situations. An example is eating ice cream when you feel sad. The trigger would be you feeling sad. The body then responds to the trigger with an action. For example, you looked into the freezer and saw ice cream that one time you were feeling sad, and so you ate the ice cream. Finally, your brain receives feedback, which determines whether the response was a good one. Like when you ate ice cream, you felt a little bit better because ice cream is yummy. And now your body decided that, oh, that worked out really well. When I ate ice cream, I felt better. And so in the future, your body will want you to eat more ice cream when you're sad because it knows that you feel better. So your brain is naturally really lazy and wants to turn off as much as it can. It likes to form habits and turn regular behaviors into automatic routines, because when it forms a routine and makes something automatic, then your brain can turn off and conserve energy. Fortunately, you can take steps to rewire your brain and rewrite these automatic routines. First, identify the root of the problem. To fix the bad habit, you first have to identify what the problem is. Why are you doing the habit? I've never run into a habit that didn't have a deeper problem at the root of it. So look really deep into yourself and try to figure out what it is you're avoiding. Is there a feeling you don't like or a situation that makes you uncomfortable? What is the base problem? We're going to use one of my bad habits as an example. I think I nap too much. I nap a lot. If you know me, you know I nap so much. So what I did is I looked and thought about, why do I nap? Is it because I'm tired? And then I realized that no, it's not because I'm tired, it's because I'm bored and I don't know what to do. So I nap. Next, you identify the trigger. The trigger is usually related to the main problem. So once you figure out the problem, then it's usually easier to figure out what it is, what the emotion or general trigger is that makes you do the habit. So for me, it is feeling bored. The next step is to override old habits with new ones. It is really hard to just flat out stop doing a habit. I mean, as we've determined, there's a reason why you're doing it. But instead of just flat out stopping, you can replace the old habit with the new one. Now that you've identified the trigger, when the trigger happens, instead of doing the old habit, replace it with a new one that is similar and accomplishes the same task, except is healthier. I personally wrote a list on my phone of things to do when I'm bored, so that whenever I'm bored, I can look at my phone and scroll through and decide what sounds interesting. Or if nothing sounds interesting, then I pick randomly, and I have to do it for at least 15 minutes before I can go take a nap. The next section is to change the feedback. If you accidentally mess up and still do the bad habit, do not panic. It can still be useful to you. When you accidentally do the bad habit, think about how you're feeling. What are the negative thoughts or negative reactions to what you're doing? And I don't mean to say go and sink yourself down and feel really bad about yourself because you made a mistake, but just recognize the negative emotions that you have. Thinking about this will rewire the brain to realize that, oh, the response is not actually good to what I just did. Like, I don't feel good about myself now that I took a nap. I feel kind of shitty. So I'm gonna not be as likely to do that next time because it doesn't feel good. I don't like it. So what I do is I think about, before I nap, if I still really want to nap, then I think, how am I gonna feel after the nap? Am I just gonna feel frustrated because I can't wake up and I end up napping for like an hour and a half at least? Or am I gonna feel like happy with myself because I was tired and I needed a nap? If I was tired, then yes, I can nap, I'd go for it. If I'm just bored, I think about how frustrated it will make me feel that I've wasted part of the day just because I didn't know what to do. And then if I do end up napping, after I wake up, I take a second to think about how I'm feeling. Like, am I really disappointed in myself? Am I super groggy and feeling really gross? Do I feel bad or upset? Just recognize that negative feeling that you have. Another thing you can do to help with habits is to change your environment. There are 2 reasons to do this. One, there might be things in your environment that support your bad habit. Like for me, if there's a really comfy couch and blanket near me, then yeah, I'm gonna be more likely to nap because it's cozy. But if I'm in like a cold room with a hardwood floor, I'm probably gonna not be as likely to nap because it's not as comfortable to nap. And the other reason is that changing the environment gives you a fresh start. It's a lot easier to make new habits in a new environment that you're not used to. Here's a little quick tip. It's a lot easier to make new habits when you're in a new environment or in a new routine. So if you're moving into a different house or apartment or getting a new job, then that's a great time to break a habit. See, if you're already switching things up, your body will be used to change and things are changing. And so it's easier to attach that new habit to a new routine and put those together, as opposed to simply saying, I'm gonna have the same exact routine, except I'm going to do this one habit differently. That is really difficult for the brain to understand. The most important thing to keep in mind here is that you should keep trying and not get upset with yourself. It is frustrating when you relapse into a bad habit, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. Recognize that it's upsetting to you, but also know that breaking a bad habit is a process. It's not a snap your fingers and it's done kind of thing. To make sure you make the most of this last step, go watch this video so you can see how useful so-called failure actually is. Bye!